Here, Don. I'm not really sure if your country adopt the capital punishment system, and assuming that your country adopt the capital punishment system for those heinous criminals who killed so many people, how do you think about the capital punishment system in the sense of whether you can approve it or not? Most of the people in the world may probably nod their head to the capital punishment system without having room to think if it's justice or injustice. But I personally object this capital punishment system. The ground that I take adverse stance to the capital punishment system is by the passage like, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone," which is from Gospel of John chapter 8 from section 3rd to section 11th, a woman caught in adultery. So in the Bible, there is a scene that Christ has, confrontation with the juries over a woman caught for adultery. And adultery deserved to be a capital punishment by stoning in the law in the period of time of the Old Testament. And when Christ was asked for a decision on this, he said, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." Then people round the place of execution left there one after another from sinners, and nobody didn't cast a stone to the criminal after all. So I don't actually believe in Christ, but this passage expresses the reason that I object to capital punishment system simply. So my underlining thought about the capital punishment system is that nothing is more stupid and arrogant than the fact that sinful people try to execute judgment on criminals by the capital punishment. So it seems to me the current capital punishment is the system that releases people's hatred thoughts to the criminal from their mind. So the judgment in crime case is done based on the fact proved by various evidences on the crime, but the decision on execution of punishment is considerably likely to prioritize negative thoughts of revenge. Like, I want to give him more than a taste of my medicine. As a matter of fact, although judges and juries seem to make reasonable judgments based on evidences. So in most cases, people sympathize of surviving family member or victim and have a really fierce resentment against a criminal who claimed a life of a person with a selfish reason. And I understand how they feel, and I understand their painful situation, painful circumstance, and I understand the feeling like they've got a really, big empty hole in their heart due to the fact that a person close to them was, murdered all of a sudden by someone one day. So if a person close to me was killed by someone all of a sudden, it would be quite difficult for even me to hold myself together with a fierce resentment against a criminal who murdered a person close to me, and I might hope for the death of a criminal in the name of law. But I realize this is not really a good idea in a sense that I don't give forgiveness to someone who went wrong way because he lost himself for a moment. I think giving him a chance to turn over a new leaf and make amends for what he actually did is a way more constructive for us than hoping for the death of a criminal with the fierce emotion of a revenge. So of course there are some criminals who take offensive about what they actually did without feeling the sense of guilty, or rather try to cause harm to surviving family member of the victim selfishly. And so I know it is extremely difficult for us with temporal sense of value to give criminals mercy and give criminals time to think about what they actually did. But even in this situation, I think we should patiently give a mercy to them and keep giving a chance for them to look back what they actually did in order to save them from evil thoughts, evil minds, without giving them up. So, to be honest, I actually have no confidence on if I can do this when I confront the homicide situation. But if there's a God in this world, probably He leads us to thinking this way. So it is really stupid religious way of thinking. But I think a person who really needs help after his death is the one who committed crime with evil thoughts. I don't know why, but I instinctively feel, offensive person will suffer from his circumstance with terrible sense of guilty of what he actually did during his lifetime, especially after his death, assuming that there's the next world after that death. So I think it's really good for him to turn over his new leaf while he is alive, because his suffering will reduce after his death. So I know there are a lot of people who think he gets what he deserves, so we have no mercy to send him off to the edge of hell. But I feel sense of revenge comes from our egoistic thoughts, no exceptionally. So I feel it hurts our spirits and downgrades the quality of our conscience and personality. So I don't know how to say, but I instinctively feel the motivation that you hope for the death of the criminal is not really good for progression of our spirits. So it's quite difficult problem. But we always have to take the stance of how we can understand your circumstance, how we can pray for the deletion of your evil thoughts, evil mind from your true mind. So I know it is a really stupid way of thinking, but I think this way. And it is obvious that vast majority of people care about the death of victims of case of murder. So it is really natural way of thinking, and it's a really natural emotion that everyone has. But if a victim of a case of murder did a good deed and right things during lifetime, there's no need to worry much about him or her in the next world after the death, because the victim will not probably suffer from his or her circumstance because of sense of guilty or sense of regret. Or a person who reaches the end of life by being martyred may be born to pay karma by dying this way in accordance with the law of causality. I don't know. But if we have a certain view of life and death, you may probably have a certain sense of ethics to judge if what is correct is what is wrong in terms of capital punishment. So assuming that this is the only world where we exist and we only live once in this world, and every single person's death comes to nothing, we could be probably forgiven for hoping for the death of the criminals with fierce emotion of the revenge when we think about the sadness and painfulness of a surviving family of victims. So in my thought, here is a transient world, and the next world after the death is the original world where we truly exist. So I think if you think this way, you probably change your thought about the capital punishment. So in this world, there are so many variety of people living together, and I think we have to help each other with mercy. Even if a person commits a crime, commits offense, we have to find a way out for him. So if a murder case is an established fact that we can't change anymore. Of course, we have to take care of mental conditions of surviving family of a victim, but and also a person whom we have to save is the one who committed crime. So I know there's so many criticism about my opinion, but I think this is what I think of. We have to give a mercy to even, you know, even criminals who offense a really terrible crime.